tax, career advice, and of course a little markets mixed in with politics. Mr. Anthony Scaramucci, founder of Skybridge Capital and author of a new book, joins us this morning. Anthony, welcome back to the Schwab Network.
Oliver, good to be back with you always. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, so I know a little bit about your book, but tell me the details from Wall Street to the White House and back, out earlier this month.
Well, I mean, listen, I got ejected from the White House after 11 days. They skinned me alive. They rolled me in margarita salt. I got lit up by all the late night comedians, torched on cable news. I think Bill Hader played me for a while on Saturday Night Live. It was a rough situation.
So that's an honor.
Listen, if you've ever been fired, and you've gone through a rough patch, if it's not a health-related reason, just compare it to the disastrous situation I was facing on the 31st of July, 2017. And I thought it would be a fun book to write about what happened, why it happened, how you pull yourself back from a situation like that. And of course, also infamously, I allowed Sam Bankman-Fried to buy into a piece of my business, and I had to face the music in November of 2022. So just imagine I'm announcing that I'm selling a piece of my business with great celebration in September of 2022, and then have to face the music again. I go from hero to GOAT. And I don't mean greatest of all time. I mean GOAT in the old-fashioned way that you say the word GOAT. And so I write about these stories because they are human, they're vulnerable, and I know people. I mean, maybe there are certain people, Oliver, that have perfect lives and everything goes up and to the right in a straight line, but most of us have different trials and tribulations. And I thought it would be a fun book to express to people what happened to me and how I pulled myself together after these incidents.
Give me an anecdote either from post SBF or post White House. Give us a little kind of taste of what's inside, Anthony.
Well, listen, I mean, I talk about the day that I learned that Sam is likely to have perpetrated a fraud. I have to fly. I take a JetBlue flight down to his offices, and I'm looking for him and his dad because I can't believe what I'm hearing, and I know I've got to see it for myself. And so I write with graphic detail about that and how crestfallen I was related to that situation. I also, write very openly about mistakes of ego, mistakes and pride. I would say to people here, because this is an investor network, when you put your pride, your emotion, your ego into a decision, it's typically bad. You're typically going to do something stupid, or you're going to hang on to a stock too long, or you're not going to, buy a stock even though it's got great fundamentals. I can't tell you the number of people that missed Tesla just for whatever reason they decided they had an emotional distaste for the story, even though the trajectory of Tesla was so strong. And so the book is a cautionary tale about trying to get your pride and your ego out of your decision making. You'll make better decisions that way. And by the way, I've made prideful and ego-based decisions that have turned out to be disasters for me, Oliver. And so I write about it very honestly in the book.
Sure. Obviously, you made some good ones, too. I mean, how do you kind of look back at your history and figure out where some of that ego worked, where it didn't? I mean, we're here and we're talking, and you are who you are, and you got to the places where you are and those opportunities that, you might have misstepped a few times, but, I mean, you built a business. You survived and thrived in, the toughest city in the world, arguably, in America, in New York, and sort of became a scion of financial success. So how do you I'm sure that took some ego and some guts, along the way.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good point. Listen, I mean, the media focuses on the bad stuff, and I appreciate you bringing up some of the good stuff. Yeah, no, listen, we built a very nice business. Obviously, I've had some influence in the crypto market, some influence in the world of finance. Our conference has been a award-winning thought leadership event, which we host every year. We now do it we now do it in a couple of cities, and so all of that stuff has been great. And I think it's a message in the book. If you're going to take risk, if you're going to grow up the way I did and force yourself into the society and have a level of ambition, of course, you need to have self-confidence and a healthy ego. But if you are taking risks, you are going to get clocked. You're going to get your clock cleaned once in a while. And how do you adapt to that? And I think that the message in the book is live your dreams, Life is short. Mel Brooks said that one of the best lines ever: "Relax. None of us are getting out of here alive." And I think it's a big message for everybody. Just relax, follow your dreams. It may not go perfectly. You may be beset with failure or setbacks that may make you miserable or frankly even scared for a period of time, but it's worth it. It's worth pursuing that, even though the destination you get to may not be the exact one you want. It's really the journey that is way more fulfilling when you're a risk taker, but it does come with some pitfalls. And I think that's the message of the book. I appreciate you bringing up some of my successes too. It's been a fun ride, frankly. Not perfect, but it's been fun. You know, I was in a Bitcoin boat. I think I have a bobblehead here somewhere in my office of me sinking. The New York Post had me sinking in a Bitcoin boat when Sam blew up, and Bitcoin was at about 16 or 17,000. We stayed in those positions, and Bitcoin here in the high 60s. The firm and our investors have been well rewarded. But again, I've been humbled by life and markets. I'm not speaking with certitudes or absolutes.
Sure.
But I am suggesting to people that they stay in things they believe in and have a good sense of humor about yourself along the way.
Sure. I haven't read the book, but I saw you at a speaking event about a year ago now almost, and your story is very earnest, so I think it'll be a good read. While I got you, I do want to kind of ask you a few market-relevant questions.
I got to orange pill you, Oliver, though. I mean, that's one of my goals in life.
Well, while I got you, I got to hit you on that.
I know how much you hate Bitcoin, so I'm trying to Larry Fink you, Oliver. I mean, at some point,
Hey, not a hater, but still a doubter. That's kind of my question, Anthony, is do you feel confident that you won't have to bounce back again on this one? Where do you feel kind of post-ETFs, your conviction on this asset class?
Listen, I have very high conviction on Bitcoin, but I've been wrong about things before. I tell people you have to prepare for the worst, of course, pray for the best. I think Bitcoin is a asset class. I think it's adapting, it's maturing. There's an adoption curve going on right now where, this is sort of like 1999 for Web 1. And if we're right, Bitcoin's going to be a $15, $16 trillion market cap. It's a $1.5, $1.6 trillion market cap today. I'm not saying it's going to get there evenly. You're showing a chart that shows a lot of jagged edges to it. It's a bad EKG, that chart. But I think long term, if you zoom out of Bitcoin and you have it sized appropriately in your portfolio where you don't get overly concerned about price volatility, I think you're going to be very well rewarded. So yeah, we have a high degree of confidence and we own a lot of it, and I have a lot of my personal net worth tied up in it.
Anthony, is it a little awkward that I don't want to call him your nemesis, but someone that you've spent a lot of time campaigning against, former President Donald Trump, is warming up to crypto? It seems like the last couple months he's looking to that audience for support. What do you make of that?
Listen, I think it's a smart move on his part. I mean, whatever. If you like Donald Trump or dislike him, he is a political opportunist and he has very good political instincts. And I think if you look at a Venn diagram, Oliver, if you're pro-Bitcoin or pro-crypto, you're probably not losing a lot of votes. But if you're against crypto, you probably are. And I think it's a mistake by the Biden campaign to be anti-crypto. I'll point out to people that 93 million people, and don't go by me, you can Google that, and that's data backed up by Coinbase, 93 million people in this country own a cryptocurrency or some cryptocurrencies. And 65 million people own dogs. So it would be like being anti-dog to be anti-crypto. I think it's silly for politicians at this point to take that stance. And so Donald Trump's not a dummy. I mean, let me tell you something. I don't want him to return to the presidency because I think he's crazy, but he's not a dummy. You can be crazy and also smart.
Okay. Well, almost a win-win then. If he loses for you, if he wins, then he might be pro-crypto. All right.
I got to move. I got to find. I'm going to be living in your basement if the guy wins. And I'll probably have like a voice modulator.
Yeah, he might be on the run. Anthony, thanks for the catch-up. Hey, let's follow up post-halving, see where we're at in the typical, halving rally a year from now. Because if it works, then I might be orange-pilled. If not, though, I don't know what the opposite orange pill is. Well, we'll come back and talk about it.
If not, you can dunk me. You can dunk me in an orange cesspool. How's that? But I think we're going to be right. I don't want you to miss it. You can get off a zero, Oliver. You don't have to own that much.
All right. Appreciate it, Anthony, for your time as always. Congrats on the book.
Thank you for having me. And thanks for
Absolutely.
bringing it up. Thank you.
For sure. From Wall Street to the White House and back, Mr. Anthony Scaramucci, founder and managing partner at Skybridge Capital.